Hello there, I'm Anna Wild, the Birth Whisperer, and it is my personal mission to help you discover the calm confidence that you need for giving birth. And if you happen to feel a little nervous about giving birth, then keep watching because you're in for a treat. Katrina Zaslavsky is an inspired international speaker and voice for women. She was a public health professional, but she's turned mum on a mission and she's making waves as the founder of Birth Goddess. And she's committed to being part of the positive birth revolution. She's also the author of A Modern Woman's Guide to Natural Empowering Birth, which is a collection of inspiring birth stories. Totally encourage you to check out her incredible book. But for now, let's talk with Katrina. Katrina, thank you so much for spending some time with us today and sharing your wisdom about birth.
Thank you so much for having me.
So maybe we could start with exploring, how did you become passionate about birth?
That's a good question. I guess it all started with my own experience, as all good things do. They come from experience. So I had a lot of positive anticipation towards motherhood, and at the same time, it was clouded by fear, and not just a small amount of fear, but really intense fear. So it was interesting because I was really set on going natural and drug-free. I had been a natural woman in every other aspect of my life, so it was really a given. And yet there was this big bridge to cross from being terrified, and that's a very strong word, but that's where I was at, to really crossing that bridge and feeling completely at peace with the whole idea, and then stepping into my power around it. And that's exactly what I had to do. Luckily, Mother Nature is very kind to us and gives us 9 months of preparation time, give or take, to really step into the role of motherhood. And so I really used that time to really consciously prepare myself on so many levels, and that helped me so much. So once I had crossed that bridge and in the process discovered, inner strength and resources I didn't even know I had, I was compelled to help other women to walk that same path, or whatever path was right for them. So that's the short story of how I got here. But it was really driven by inspiration, intuition, and now fueled by a lot of heart and passion.
Right, so maybe this takes us to another question, which is, you talked about crossing that bridge from fear to confidence. Can you give a woman a few ideas about how she might deal with that fear? What have you discovered?
Yes. I think that we live in a time where we are so fearful. I wasn't unusual in that I had fear around childbirth. There are so many women, and I think the majority are very scared. And, you only have to look at what we're being fed, and, you look at the media, it's all bad news, it's all drama, and you won't hear anything positive or inspiring there. And then you look at Hollywood movies, not much better. Usually the woman is, on her back and helpless and needing to be rescued by someone who knows a lot more than she does. And she's in, a lot of pain, and it's all, too much. So that's not very inspiring either. So if that's where we get our education, we're in big trouble. And then if we talk to our sisters, they really let us down as well. I don't know what it's like in New Zealand, but here in Australia, what I found was that, women are very eager to share horror stories. And, if they've had an amazing calm birth or orgasmic birth, you're not going to hear about it. But what you will hear is, how difficult, complicated, traumatic, and so on it is. And I don't think they do it in order to cause harm. I don't think that's their intention, but unfortunately there's a lot of women who haven't had such a good experience, and I think that's part of the therapy. Women like to talk things out, and unfortunately when they spot these beautiful bumps, it brings it all up for them, and then they can't help themselves. But I think there's certainly, they need to talk it out, but probably not with first-time pregnant mothers. It's probably not the best place to do it. So, if there was already a seed there, it's just feeding it further, isn't it? Because we are all plugged in to the media, to the movies, to the newspapers and so on. And we're listening to what other people are saying. So I think we have to protect ourselves from all of these inputs and be very selective about what we allow into our space. Maybe simple things like turning off the box, putting away the newspapers, and really not listening to horror stories. So one thing that I like to say is, if you happen to be pregnant and a stranger or a friend or whoever it might be wants to start launching into a big story, just stop them and ask, is it a positive story? And if there's any hesitation, just stop them right there and say, you know what, let's talk after the birth and then we can swap notes, because you really don't want that to impact on your experience. And plant any seeds that shouldn't be there, because then you have to get through that, don't you? It does impact. So this is about stepping into motherhood, not from the moment we have the baby in our arms, but stepping into motherhood the moment that we know that we're pregnant, because that's where it all begins. It's protecting ourselves from negativity. It's protecting ourselves from things that could impact on our mind space, because our mind is so important. It's really about the body and mind working together, isn't it? Like a nice harmony, and hopefully not to be disturbed too much in the process, so that we can do what we're meant to do.
Is there anything else, any other idea about how a woman can deal with the fear?
Yes. So I think I like to talk about knowledge is birth power. And in fact, I've named a whole chapter or insight of my book after that, because I really believe when it comes to birth that ignorance is not bliss and knowledge is birth power. So what we want to do is really get informed and know our options and know what that means for us and what's important for us. And I really think that doing your research, reading empowering books or watching empowering movies, and again, being very selective and going with, a recommended independent birth course, there are some great ones out there these days, will really support us on that path. And especially if it's important to us to go natural, as it was for me, you want to be a part of a community or a world that supports that and gives you tools and things that you can use to really get there. And to know that that's a possibility because you've seen other people walk that path before you. And I still remember, watching a movie where I wasn't sure if the woman was meditating or if she was giving birth. She was that calm, and I just went, wow, it really blew my mind. I didn't know that was possible. But sometimes we need to open our mind, and once we open it, we can't close it down to where it was before. So, really education, self-education, and being totally informed and being clear about what we want. In that, I really recommend going through the process of a birth plan or birth preferences, whatever you might like to call it. It doesn't have to be completely set in stone, but at the same time, I think the process of going through all the things that you want or you value is really, really important. And it means that you can get your team on the same page. Everyone knows what you want, and then they can advocate for you if need be and be your voice.
Right.
So you don't have to make those decisions or get out of your beautiful zone in order to get back in your head to make those decisions in the throes of labour.
Right. So be prepared.
Be prepared. Exactly. And part of being prepared is, of course, gathering a really great support team, people you feel completely comfortable with, because it is a very private event. And, you want to be relaxed, you want to be calm. And I also talk about relaxation rituals. For me, that was very important because I did tend to get quite stressed out. So I knew that part of my preparation was to create rituals that helped me to relax. And for me, that meant things like my daily walks in nature. It meant meditation and visualization. It meant yoga. It meant so many things. But whatever helps you. And for me, music really helped me to go there. So music and positive suggestions. So when I was listening to these wonderful CDs, it really helped me to go into a very deep place of relaxation. And I think that was so invaluable because I started that process in pregnancy and then I was able to bring that into the labor. So then I listened to the same CD in labor and it helped me to go straight there really, really quickly.
Brilliant, brilliant. So, Katrina, if you could sum all this up, if there was one message that you feel that women really need to hear about birth, what would it be?
I once I had done it, and that was such a huge achievement for me. I really wanted to shout from the rooftop. So if I could shout any message from the rooftop right now, it
Go.
would be that when birth is no longer feared, numbed, or endured, it has the opportunity to become the most powerful, positive, and transformative thing we will ever experience in our lifetime. And you can do this. This is what your body's made to do.
Absolutely brilliant, Katrina. Thank you so much. It's been powerful.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It's been great.
Thank you so much for watching. If you've been inspired, please share because your voice supports positive, respectful childbirth for mothers and babies everywhere. Make a comment, send this link to your friends, post something on Facebook, and sign up for more calm birthing confidence that I share in emails at thebirthwhisperer.com.